welcome to We Never Met, the podcast where I have interesting strangers on every single week. Today we have fresh off working, actually.
Yes.
You can introduce yourself real quick.
I am Daniela. I am the owner of Ruby's Bagels.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been doing this for officially a year of selling bagels.
I saw that. Like almost to the week, right?
Yes.
Where you started your first pop-up.
Yes, my first pop-up was March, I want to say like 5th or something like that.
Wow.
Of 2019.
Wow.
That was crazy.
Has it flown by?
Flown by.
It's
been crazy.
Because the attraction and the amount of like people that know what you're doing and who you are now in just a year time frame has been like massive.
Very, yes.
Yes. So like at the beginning when you first started you were doing the pop-ups and going to like where were you going? Anodyne? Were you going there? And
so for pop-ups,
yeah,
my first one ever was at Botanica Galactica. That's on 5th Street in Walker's Point.
Okay.
And they had a market for like creatives, artists. It was called the Magic Market, and that was my first one.
Oh,
so
wow.
I had my little table, my little baskets with bagels. That was my first pop-up. And then Ryan at Pilcrow offered me his space to do the days that wasn't doing the markets.
Okay.
So every other weekend I would like rotate between the two.
what was like the first experience like doing it? Was it like successful from the get-go, or were you like, was it kind of nerve-wracking? Like, okay, are people going to buy these?
Dude, I was so scared. I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. This is dumb. Like me making bagels, I don't think people are going to like them.
At least one person buy them.
Like, so I had to buy, obviously before that I had to get like my permits or whatever I needed to like sell. And then I was like, well, I'm really doing this. I was so nervous. I even told the girl that runs the market, I'm like, this is my first market. I don't know if I really want to do this.
Get people over here? Like tell people to come this way.
Yeah. And she was like, don't worry. You'll be fine. And here I am sweating.
Yeah.
And like, okay, here I am. And sure enough, I think I sold out that day too. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is my first pop-up, and I sold out, and people seem to like the bagels. And I'm like, well, I guess I could do this again.
Yeah.
And then I was still nervous every time I did pop-ups.
Yeah, I bet.
After that, though.
So, like, how did the original idea come about, like, to make bagels specifically? Because, I mean, to make food is one thing, but, like, to hone in on one specific item, why did you pick bagels out of everything?
You know what? To me, it's just... It was a crazy story. I went to Cleveland with my boyfriend, Michael.
Yeah.
And we wanted something real quick. We didn't want to sit down and eat breakfast.
Sure.
So we found a bagel shop. And, it was locally owned. Those were the best bagels I've had. And I was just like, how come we don't have something like this back home?
Yeah, we don't really,
Panera or Einstein,
right.
Chains. And usually I love supporting, small businesses.
Sure.
So I wished there was a small bagel shop that I could go to. So then I bit into that bagel. I was like, this is awesome. I was like, I'm going to go back home and I'm going to figure out how to make bagels. I mean, I've always loved cooking and baking since a very young age. But bagels, I've never made bagels.
I've never made them either.
So I've made cakes and stuff like that before, but never bagels. So I came back home, and I literally for a whole year, 2017, I was looking up recipes, YouTubing things, reading about bagels. I went bagel crazy.
Yeah. What's like the process like for making it? Is it pretty complicated?
So it is. Obviously, it depends on your recipe, because a lot of us people who make bagels have
a lot of us bagelers
have different techniques.
Sure.
People add stuff to their water. Some people don't proof them overnight. People just start the bagels the same day, and the same day they bake them.
Wow.
We proof our bagels overnight, so our bagels really take 24 hours to make.
Sure.
So this morning we started at 3:30 in the morning to make the bagels for tomorrow, Sunday.
Jeez.
So that's you start by making a sponge, like fermenting the yeast with flour and water, and then you let that rise. Then we mix that into actual dough. And then we let that sit. We after that we then start rolling them, and then we put them in the cooler in the fridge, and then we let them sit overnight until tomorrow morning.
Wow.
Go inside the kitchen really early, and then we boil, and then we bake them.
Okay.
And then we hand slice them as well. So it's a lot of work.
That is. How long did it take you to figure out how you wanted to do it specifically? Like the actual recipe? Like, were there a lot of
oh gosh,
not great great
ones you can
on the
ask
road?
Michael. Oh my god. The first ones they did not look like bagels. I don't know what they look
long
like.
Pieces of bread.
I'm like, is that a bagel or a bun? I'm not sure.
Say it is.
So it took me a long time because the texture, I was so picky. I wanted them to be really good, something that I was really proud of.
You have to be if you're going to sell them.
Exactly.
And, start from scratch.
Oh, yeah. So it took me literally almost a year to find a recipe that I was happy with. I had to, play with the amount of flour, the amount of yeast.
Sure.
Like, there's recipes out there, but it's just like, I didn't like how they were turning out.
Right.
So I'm like, I have to do something. So a lot of checking, like writing down everything every single time I was baking. Just like a science experiment, and I love science, so I kind of like it was enjoyable. It was enjoying for me.
Yeah,
like I loved it.
Yeah. And so, are you from Milwaukee originally?
I was born in El Paso, Texas, and then I moved here when I was 4 years old.
Okay, so pretty much your whole life you've been here.
Yeah.
Okay. It was your mom like a big influence on you cooking, or like?
Yes.
Okay.
Huge. Her and all my aunts, I would see them cook all the time, and I think by the time I was 15, I'm like, you know what, I'm ready to join you guys in the kitchen and start cooking. So since I was 15, I've been doing our Thanksgiving dinners
by yourself?
By myself, making 2 turkeys, because
that's a lot of pressure.
When we have Thanksgiving, it's like 23, 24, sometimes 30 people in my house.
Yeah.
So I would be like, don't worry guys, I got this.
It's like restaurant quality.
Yeah. So here I am. I take pride on my turkey. Let me just tell you that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Are you going to do do you ever do like a bagels with turkey? Thanksgiving?
I didn't do it last year, but who knows? Maybe this year I would love to do that, especially with like my turkey my recipe. Yeah.
What elevates your turkey rather than other?
I brine my turkey.
Okay.
So I start the night before and I brine it in my special little,
Okay. In your your blend, your special blend.
Special blend, and let me tell you, the next morning I rinse it and then I put it in the oven. Game changer. Like it's. No dry turkey around here. Okay, yeah. It's great.
Well, that's the worst. I mean, dry turkey is terrible.
It's like,
objectively
this
bad.
turkey's great. And it's like, I need water.
So how did you decide to which ways you wanted to go with the bagels? Because I mean, there's a lot of different things you can put on them.
Yes.
A lot of different spins and things. Like, how did you narrow it down to like, okay, this is what people would want?
So I first experimented with rosemary sea salt bagel because it is something
which I haven't heard of before you made them.
Exactly. Yeah. And I got inspired by Cleveland Bagel Co., which is the guys that own the bagel shop I was inspired by.
Yeah.
So rosemary, it's something different. Yeah. It's very savory, but at the same time, it goes well with strawberry cream cheese. So it just works. Which
you wouldn't think off the top of your head, which is why it's probably great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think, but it works. It's not too savory, but it's just, I don't know, a balance.
Yeah.
So most of my bagels are savory, which I love savory. I think I only have one cinnamon sugar bagel, which is a sweet one. Yeah. So I think I want to add another one and maybe like have rotating bagel flavors spring, summer.
Sure.
So we'll see about that. But it was just like seeing what kind of bagels would go with a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And so I narrowed it down to 6.
Yeah.
And most of them are savory.
Yeah.
But you can make them sweet with cream cheese.
Sure. So. Yeah. My question, and what is interesting to me, is that basically like it takes a lot to start a business. I mean, you were up at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. today doing things. And so it's not like something that you can take on lightly and just decide to do. And, so like what kept you coming back to, I guess, doing this idea specifically? Were there any other ideas before that you wanted to like start a business with?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I knew from a very young age that I was going to be a business owner. I just did not know what kind of
Which is interesting. Why do you think you thought that?
I have no idea.
Just didn't want to work for anyone pretty much, or like...
You know what? I don't know. I knew that whatever business I was going to own, it was going to be in the food industry.
Okay.
I just didn't know what exactly
Sure.
until I was 27. Then it's when I was like, well, it's bagels.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it was like, oh, I'm going to open up a kombucha shop or a brewery or maybe both or a coffee shop, something.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And I remember having this conversation with Michael, my boyfriend, when we first met. And then he was like, oh, kombucha? What is that? Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
I still only had it once, I think. So
it's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
It's definitely hit or miss. Yeah. But so yeah, I always knew that I wanted to do something in the food industry. Sure. And I guess it had to take a road trip for me to figure out what it was.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard. It's just taking a crazy idea and running with it. It's like this Mexican chick just making bagels. What? So, hey.
That's your tagline of your business. Ruby's Bagels.
Yeah. Because it's like, I knew the city was missing, somebody that's making bagels locally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to fill in that gap if I can.
Yeah.
So I think that was my drive, filling in that gap.
Yeah.
So
and giving people something that they didn't have access to here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you were out there today and you've been for a year from now. Yeah. A year ago.
A year ago.
What has the reaction been like? Has there been any specific like customer interactions or people that you still remember today?
Yes. So I have a lot of regulars.
Oh yeah.
A lot of them, and they're amazing. There's people that the feedback has been amazing as well. Very supportive. People rave about our products. It's just, it feels almost like family. And that was my goal from the beginning. That's why I called it Ruby's Bagels. My first name is Daniela, but my middle name is Ruby, and all my family calls me Ruby.
Okay.
So people that didn't know that was my middle name now know that, and they feel like kind of like special. They're like, hey, we're like family.
I know something about you.
Yeah, like I call you Ruby.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm more connected to my community. I mean, when I moved here from El Paso, Texas, I moved to 4th and National. So it's like I'm a block away from where I like came and lived. So I just feel really connected to everyone and all the customers, and they bring their kids, they bring their dogs.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting like to see the development too, since you have been there for so long, of how different it is now probably than it was when you were first moving here at 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Walker's Point was not what it is now. Okay, let me tell you. I was like 4 years old. This is a little crazy. I was 4 years old, and I experienced a drive-by in front of my house on 4th, like by Tech. Like that's where I used to live, and that's where like all these things happen. And
really?
Nowadays, you don't even imagine Walker's Point used to be like that. It used to be crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like it changed.
Yeah.
Like big time changed.
Which is good because more businesses can get there, and the community can develop. And but I wanted to ask you, because are you still part of the Incubator Program that they had?
Yeah, sort of. But okay. I started as Incubator.
Okay.
So I would lease their food truck. I customized it to whatever my business was. So Ruby's Bagels. And they allowed me to sell from there. So now I am in the garage of Zocalo, and it used to be a bar.
Oh, sure.
So I think I'm going to be staying there for the remaining of this year, for the whole year actually.
Yeah.
For spring, summer, just because people like to have a place to sit and bring their family. That way they're not outside, or like in springtime when it rains, they'll be able to be covered.
Yeah.
So I think they moved me permanently to the garage.
Gotcha.
And I think somebody else is going to be taking over the truck that I had.
Okay.
I think that's going to be the official new incubator person.
Oh,
business.
Cool.
I don't know who it is yet, but
yeah. Yep. So starting this like a year ago, basically like at pop-up shops, what was the event or whatever like changed this idea that you had into like doing it actually? You know what I mean? Because you can sort of sit on an idea. I can be like, oh, it would be a really cool thing to start a coffee shop or something, but I never would do it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it right now, I should say. So what changed in your mindset that was like, I have to do this now? Like this needs to get done.
So first is the idea, having I could do this. I could fill in the gap. Secondly was saying, you know what? I know it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. I know it's early mornings. Yeah. And it's either now or never, because I'm only this young, and school,
at this point, right now,
at 27 years old. Yeah. And I was in school at the time.
Okay.
So I was just like, you know what? School will always be there.
Yeah.
If something happens, I could always go back, finish up my microbiology degree. And
you were going to school for microbiology?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, clearly I love science and yeast and all that crazy stuff. So, yeah, so it was just like, it's now or never. I'm only this young now. If I decide to have a crazy idea when I'm like 40, I'm going to be too lazy to wake up at 3 in the morning, okay?
Yeah.
So
I have to start the routine now.
Yeah.
Like I have to do it. Yeah.
Gotta do it now. So just pretty much take it as far as I can. And, you know, I did. It's not like I had a bunch of money saved up either.
Yeah.
It's like starting from zero.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And figuring it out.
Yeah.
And it's been rough, but it's been worth it.
Yeah.
It's been worth it.
Was there some times where you were like, oh, this might not have been a good thing to do?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
How'd you work through that and keep going and decide to?
You need a support system.
Yeah. Because how'd your family and stuff react to deciding to stop school and just go for this?
So I was kind of scared to tell my parents.
I would bet. Yeah. Yeah. I would be too.
I was scared. I'm like, you know what? As being first generation and you know, nobody in my family has been to college. So I'm like,
this is a huge thing to them. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh my God, my daughter's going to college. She's whatever. Yeah. So when I decided that I was going to officially pursue the bagel thing, I was like, hey, Mom, Dad, this is my plan.
We need to talk. Here, take some drinks.
Here you go.
Yeah.
You might need a little bit of this. And I told them my idea. They were like, whoa, well, that's a crazy idea. But you know what? If you really are passionate about it, go ahead and do it. We don't care about school. Do whatever you want to do, but fully like go in.
Yeah.
And do
if
it.
you're going to commit, you know, don't half-ass this.
They're like, do not half-ass. If you're sure about this, go all the way. Take it as far as you can. And I was like, really?
That's really refreshing and
I
nice.
was like, okay, all right. So that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to go do this.
Have they come out to visit you at your bagel shop?
My mom is a baker now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
She helps me bake as long as, and also my aunt. So my aunt and my mom help me bake. And then my cousin helps me. She's a cashier on the weekends.
Oh, wow. So you got like a whole family team going on. So it really is like a community thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Which is, I'm really thankful. I had to teach my mom and my aunts how to make bagels. So, you know.
That's interesting.
So now they're pros. They know how to do it. So that's pretty cool.
Because what did your mom do before?
She was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
She was a stay-at-home mom, and then before staying at home for forever, she worked at Patrick Cudahy.
Right. Yeah,
yes, she worked at Patrick Cudahy, and and it's crazy because now that I think back, she used to bring bagels home all the time, onion bagels from like Pick and Save.
That sounds really good.
And I remember them because I used to like Philadelphia cream cheese and my onion bagels, and those are like childhood memories. It's like
it was like ingrained in you. Yeah.
So it's like it's crazy now to see that I'm making these bagels, and my mom doesn't work at Patrick Cudahy anymore. She works with me. Yeah. So it's
but she still has access to bagels.
Exactly. Yeah. Like bagels, I guess somehow were in my mind, and I didn't know. I had no idea till that I had that memory in my mind till I had an interview for a video once, and I'm like, oh my God.
That's bagels in there somewhere. Yeah. It goes way back.
Crazy.
Yeah. And so with your bagel shop, where do you want to go with it? Like, what do you want to do in the future, or where do you want to be?
Where do I want to be?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big dreamer.
Yeah. You got to. Dream big.
So I definitely want to have a storefront with a commercial kitchen in the back. I want to stay somewhere in the South Side. Sure. And I want this to be a place where everyone from everyone from Milwaukee, out of Milwaukee, I don't care about backgrounds. Yeah. That a place where people could come, get some bagels, share with their family, friends, and turn that place into like a hangout spot.
Like a gathering place for people. Yeah.
A hangout spot for people. And ideally, I would love to host events where like kids could sell their art or showcase what they do artistically. The amount of like traction that you've gotten, like you have over 1,500 Instagram followers, 1,600 Instagram followers, like 2,500, I think. 25. That's a lot though. Do I have 25? Oh my gosh. We should check. I don't know. We should check. But it's in the couple thousands, right? It's in the thousands. Yeah. Yeah. Somewhere up there. Within a year. And so, why do you think people are drawn so much to what you're doing? Like, are you doing anything specifically different than or intentional, I guess, to make people want to come back, even like on a social platform and stuff like that? I think I'm very I'm always on social media. So I'm always on Instagram. I stay connected on Facebook as well, especially on my business pages. I think I keep everyone in the loop with what I'm doing. And I think people like to see that. And and that there's an actual human running the business.
Yeah.
You know, and I think people appreciate that.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Cause I was even watching your Instagram story today, and it's like, you feel like you know who you are without knowing you.
Exactly.
Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's people who live not even in the state and that watch me, and they're like, hey, you know, next time I'm in Wisconsin, I'm going to come and get a bagel.
Yeah.
Because I watch your stories. I don't know how they land on my Instagram page, but they do. And, you know, next time if they do come to Milwaukee, I guess they'll stop and get a bagel.
Yeah.
So it's just, I feel it's like that connection that I also feel with other people. I might not know you. Like for you, like I follow you on Instagram and I'm like, I don't know him, but I feel like I know him because I watch his podcast. And so it's that connection that's very important for a business, because there's a lot of businesses that, you know, they're so busy or they forget that, you know, they should be interacting with people.
Right.
For me, is to connect with my people, to connect with the community and help others out too. So I don't know. I like connecting and doing some crazy stories and I don't know, keeping people updated. Yeah.
Is there any specific people that have reached out to you on Instagram or any sort of social media that have been like, oh my God, these are like the best. These bagels have changed my life. Bagels are like a tough thing. Sometimes they're terrible.
Yes.
So it's like some people are turned off by the food entirely because they're just not good.
They're like not good. And we're so used to toasting them because we're used to like going to just like chains or getting store-bought bagels. Right. And those are gross if you don't toast them.
Right. Yeah.
But when you have fresh ones, you don't need a toast.
Yeah.
But I noticed that everyone here was like, can I get mine toasted? Because that's what we're used to. Store-bought bagels.
Right.
But I let them know that if it's in the morning, you do not need to toast them. They're fresh. They're like chewy. They're perfect. But sorry.
Oh,
what was the question?
No, I was just asking if there's people that like have messaged you and stuff. Do you send them out to people? Can you send like your bagels out to someone in like Montana that wants them or something?
That's the next thing that I want to do. So I want to be able to figure out a way to package them and ship them out.
Sure.
Because people have asked me, actually people from New York.
Really?
Have asked me to ship them bagels.
It's a big bagel state, you know?
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, they're very different. So apparently, people try to compare my bagels with New York bagels, but I let them know that this is Milwaukee. So we're doing Milwaukee bagels.
What's the difference?
So a New York bagel, I think they boil and bake as well, but they're much bigger and denser.
Oh.
So, and mines are not huge, but they're a nice size. And very chewy inside.
Okay.
So they're not like dense.
Sure.
So people like, you know, more sturdy, big, dense bagels or chewy like mine. So it really depends what you're into.
Is it like pizza where there's like regional styles of bagels? Like how there's like New York pizza and Chicago pizza and all that stuff?
Yes.
Is there different types of bagels depending on where you go in the United States?
So there's Montreal style bagels.
What is that?
So in Montreal they have these bagels, but they boil them in honey. So they're a little bit sweeter on the outside. Okay. And their shape is thinner. And I don't even think they slice them in half. But a lot of them are sesame only.
Wow.
So they're a little bit different. But then you have New York style bagels. Huge. And then they're dense.
Wow.
And so far, and to me, Cleveland, I think that's a specific kind of bagels as well, because they're very chewy. I think they're even chewier than mine's. Wow. And mine's a mixture of like both, but more on the chewy side. Okay. So there's just...
But it's just interesting how into the bagel world you are, you know, because you could do this and be like sort of like be good at making them and just not be into like the culture or whatever, you know, like around it.
Yeah.
But you're very deep into it.
I am deep into the bagel game. Who would have thought? I would have never thought that I would be doing this right now. But
yeah. But here you are.
Here I am talking about bagels.
Do you? Is there? I don't know if this is a weird question, but are there like conventions for this stuff? Like, are there like? I feel like they have a convention for everything.
They do. I don't know, but I will look into it.
You should start one if there's not. Bring it to Milwaukee.
Yeah. Everybody fly everyone from wherever and bring your bagels.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
That would be.
Or like a baker's thing. But no, I think bagels are very important, so I think we should just have a bagel one.
Because you also make the cream cheese too, right? Is that a tough process to make or no?
Not really. We get the cream cheese and we mix in things.
Okay.
So I tried making the actual base, but we go through a lot of whole milk.
Oh,
let me tell you. A whole ton. So I would love to communicate or get in contact with a farmer from Wisconsin so we could work something out so we could provide that.
Yeah.
So hopefully soon.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah. Because are you available all year round? Like, is this something that happens or is it like seasonal where, because it's indoors now, right?
Now it's indoors. Yeah. Yes. So we are going to be all year round.
Okay.
I was supposed to be off for the winter this past winter, but I did not want to close because I just started this business and it's like it makes no sense to close.
You need to keep the momentum going.
So I was freezing my butt off in that garage, but I'm like, I don't care.
Did you get a lot of people still coming in?
I did, thankfully. Woo.
It's just cold in here with a bunch of bagels.
It's just a little cold, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Every time somebody would walk through the door, I'm like, I'm sorry. I know it's cold. I know.
I'm sorry. I just want to sell these bagels.
And here I am. Yeah. So it's been really good. So I did reduce my hours for the winter.
Yeah.
Just Friday through Sunday, but it's been great. Like the weekends have been amazing.
Yeah. So so people know where can they find all the information about Ruby's Bagels.
So they can find me on Facebook on Ruby's Bagels. MKE, on Instagram, Ruby's Bagels MKE, on my website, rubysbagels.com. They could order ahead to pick up their bagels on the weekends.
Okay.
That's where they can find me. They can email me through my website, and that's where I'm at.